Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we have a pile of bags here, and underneath the pile of bags are the instructions to show us what set this is. This is the Banished Marauder Strike. Although, I thought in some places it was called the Green Machine versus the Banished Marauder. Or am I just kind of like losing my mind here? I was almost dead certain that it was the Green Machine. That was in the name somehow. But apparently, it's the Banished Marauder Strike. So this was a set that kind of had a super weird release, very much akin to that of the turret takedown and radar wreckage sets. Mexico got it. Mexico got a lot of it. So in with all of the helmets that I got from Carlos Macias, he also sent me the Banished Marauder. So I'm really interested to take a look at this because, first of all, this is like the first set that had this mech frame. This and then the Frost Raven, which we can see back here. That was like the introduction to this mech frame. So I'm interested to see how this build is, because the prototype was all right, but it wasn't great. But it looks like the extra weapons up here can actually move. So I'm looking forward to that. Plus, he's got a Gatling gun arm, which is epic. Back here, we have the Blizzard Squad, Forge Hog, Frost Raven, and then we get to see how those attach together. That's pretty cool. I actually hope to track down a Frost Raven at some point. Anything interesting in here? Just the instructions. So we have a pile of bags. I did not get the box because that would have made shipping way more expensive, and shipping from Mexico to the US is already very expensive. So I am going to go ahead and get these open and built, and we are going to take a closer look. And there we go. Everything is all put together. And I gotta say, the Marauder itself was a little more bare bones to put together than I was expecting. I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but as I was building, it just looked like I was going to run out of pieces before the build was finished. But no, it definitely went together. It's a really interesting build. Feels a little small for the price, but we'll talk about that later. Also, I wanted to point out there's a mistake in the instructions, and also a really confusing bit. So here, it's really hard to see, but on this piece, it shows print on the top. In reality, it's print on the side to be the sight for Johnson's gun. So I spent like 2 minutes looking for this other printed piece that didn't exist because the instructions show it wrong. And then here, on the Marauder itself, there are technically two different color pieces here, but one has marbling and one doesn't. But in the instructions, they show it as a very different color. That was also kind of confusing. And then all of the pieces had that old style, mega, really hard to put together kind of feel. So you can definitely tell right off the bat that this is not a new set. But still, there's a lot of good stuff going for the set. So let's go ahead and jump in, starting with the figures. And I think we'll start with the Jackal. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. We do have some extra pieces, extra shot for the gun, a few other random bits. And then these two pieces, which was part of Mega's like special, I don't even know why they did this. They just would include this little extra bag of special parts, and this is what they gave. This is the piece that they used in the new helmets a bunch. So it's interesting to see that they had it in production before that. And then we just get this little like turntable piece, so you can kind of put these together. They don't really go anywhere. They're just for your own use. But the fact that they're bright orange makes them not super useful. So here he is. This is our Banished Jackal. Now, I believe this is the only Banished Jackal in this style. We've gotten a handful of red ones in the Infinite style, but this is the Halo 4 and 5 Jackal design. And usually we got those in blue. We didn't even get that many of those. There was like the Halo Heroes one, and then maybe one set that had them. For the most part, they're fairly rare figures, and then the fact that he's in red makes him even more unique. Super ugly. overall, like, these Jackals are just very ugly. All Jackals are ugly, but these guys are especially, I don't know, menacing. But the print is done pretty well. Eyes look pretty nice. The teeth and the tongue look pretty nice. I don't know if the overspill on, like, the top part is on purpose, but it looks good, so I'm going to pretend it is. Really no other print over the rest of the figure. But we do have a silver plasma pistol, which I don't remember seeing that anywhere else. I was very surprised when there was a silver one. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure the pistol is exclusive as well. Oddly enough, this guy does not come with a shield. I guess there was just nowhere to store it on the Marauder, and since he's the gunner there, you know, he didn't really need it. But yeah, very interesting figure, and not one you're going to be able to easily mass a squad of unless you just want to buy a bunch of Marauders. But yeah, very interesting. And I'm probably going to do a video comparing him to the newer Infinite style Banished Jackal, because I want to see how those two stack up. But yeah, overall, very interesting figure. I particularly like that plasma pistol. There is one Brute included in the set, and he is identical to the ones found in the Battle for the Ark blind bags, with the exception of the shoulders. The blind bag one had spiky shoulders. This guy has those flat, almost shield-like shoulders. Other than that, it's exactly the same markings and everything, down to the old style Brute head under there. He comes with a silver spiker, kind of an odd silver. I think it's, well, I don't know. The plasma pistol looks a little bit more metallic and solid for some reason. Not really any print around the back. And he does come with a stand, as does the Jackal. So I'm really happy that they have this guy match the markings of the one from the blind bags, because now it's easier to get an army of these guys. And this color scheme in particular, I think, might be the best, in my opinion, for these guys, because they look the most banished in those really dark colors. So this guy is a definite win in my book. The last of the figures, but certainly not the least, is Sergeant Johnson himself. Now, this guy is essentially a budget version of the Halo Heroes Series 5 Johnson, which is not necessarily bad. First of all, he doesn't have the wash, which makes him unique, but he does have a lot of the rest of the print, which is pretty impressive for a figure from a set. And then his face, so I really didn't try that hard to get this set for the longest time. It just didn't excite me because the only good figure in the set was Johnson, or the only like UNSC figure was Johnson, and I didn't really want to get him because I thought his face was going to be bad, but I'm surprised. It's fairly well done. And also they made his mustache like up to the side, so it looks like he's got kind of a smirk, or I don't know, he's got some sort of expression going. Now, I would chalk that up to being a quality control issue, you know, them printing the mustache wrong, but I watched Jangbrick's review, and Jang has the same thing, and he was wondering if that was a quality control issue. I don't think a quality control issue like that would be so consistently good across all of the different versions of the set out there. So I think Mega just did a really good job on this face. My only complaint is that the pupils of the eyes, some of the white is in there, so it doesn't show up as well as it should. And then he's got a little bit of something on his chin. I don't know what that is. But yeah, I'm impressed. I was not expecting this Johnson to be this good. Now, I already did a video comparing the new CE Johnson with the Halo Heroes Series 5 one, so I didn't feel like I needed to do an entire video comparing these two, since it's mostly the same comparison. But yeah, very interesting. You can see the difference in the skin tone. I still don't know which one I prefer. They both look pretty good. The CE version does have the plus of having the UNSC symbol on the hat, but let's go ahead and pop the heads across. So that looks pretty good. That does not look good really at all, actually. I'm a little torn because I thought the CE Johnson had the best face, but this guy, I don't know. I was very surprised. I did not expect great things from this figure, but he is surprisingly good. He comes armed with a just plain gray AR. Nothing special there. And he does not come with a stand, but I will show you why that is. Johnson has no stand because of the green machine. The green machine comes with a stand instead because you're supposed to put Johnson in the green machine. So let's go ahead and get him in there. The thing I really don't like about these mechs is the fact that you have to strip the figure down basically to the base, like the absolute base figure. I feel like they could have come up with some better way. To be honest, I would have preferred if they had just made it so that you would pop the head off the figure and put it on here. Like the torso just had a ball joint or something. That would have been better in my opinion, because this, as clever as it is, does make it kind of fiddly and weird. And you basically have to dismantle the mech and the figure every time you want to use the mech separate or the figure separate. So yeah, it's just kind of a hassle. With my prototype, I just got a bunch of parts from my random figures bin and did that for the body. See, like, when I get to this point, I don't know what to do. It's so painful, this process. Because you got to make sure the elbows line up well, too, or else you're not going to be able to pose the figure. Okay. I think we're good. Yeah, so you got to have the elbows lined up right. Okay. Are we good? Johnson's arms are all messed up. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. As long as he can pose. Okay, close it up. Mount the legs. And boom. Johnson is now the Banished's worst nightmare. Like, Johnson was bad enough, like, for the Covenant and all that. Without a mech, the havoc he would cause with a mech, especially a mech like this. I mean, look at that. This thing is beefy. This is what I wish the prototype had been, honestly. So, Mega has this back piece here, right? And it has mounting points for weapons. Why? Why did they not use that for the prototype? Instead, they gave us that janky pack that fell off all the time and didn't even move. This, you have a gun that flips up over the shoulder, which, let me tell you, this was a pain to put together because there's like poles inside of it. And then we have this. This is like a, I don't know, it's like a crane arm or something. It looks like a missile pod or something would go on there. I don't entirely know what the point of that is, but it can fold up there. Maybe it's just a grabby arm. I don't know. It looks cool. And then the rest of the mech is fairly standard. There's print on the feet, a little bit of green, and then the shoulder pieces have some tan print, which is surprisingly well done. We have a little grenade launcher machine gun combo on this side. Obviously the Gatling gun on this side, which I absolutely love this piece. I'm always happy to get more. Yeah, this is kind of sick, not gonna lie. I wasn't a huge fan of the prototype because, you know, there was a lot of issues with that. But this is pretty cool. Aside from the hassle that is, you know, putting the figure in, the only complaint that I can find is that the back piece bumps Johnson's head forward so he can't really look up. Other than that, this is pretty cool. The only way to make Johnson cooler is to put him in a massive suit of armor with machine guns. That's pretty cool. I'm digging this a lot, actually. A lot more than I thought I would. Oh, we got some more print back here on the legs as well. Was I supposed to put those on the front? I just realized that. Let me check. Yeah, I was. I have the upper legs on backwards. Anyway, you get the idea at the very least. I think that looks pretty cool. Yeah, they should have just sent Johnson after the Covenant with this thing. I think the fight would have been finished pretty darn quick. Really quick, here is the green machine beside the prototype. And yeah, Mega, what the heck? Like, stand up. This back piece would have worked perfectly and would have made the prototype so much easier to work with. But yeah, they do look pretty epic standing side by side. The mech frames, looks-wise, Mega nailed them, I would say. It's just some of the posing options are a little weird. And then, of course, prototype. Like, what were they even thinking with that? But yeah, just pretty close. Johnson clearly is superior in this case. And here is the Marauder itself. Now, I'm not really familiar with the Marauder, like, as a vehicle. I don't really know how accurate this build is, but it's really interesting. It has a very Scorpion stance to it. We've got the 2 front sections that are like the pinchers, and then the stinger tail up here. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I like some of the building techniques that's going on. We can kind of position these flaps back here. I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but they do look a bit like steering flaps or something. So that's kind of cool. I like that. The front engine pods can swivel from side to side for turns. Also very cool. And then we've got a big turret on the back. Obviously, it just spins, so you're not really going to have super precise posing with that. The only way to make the Jackal stay on there, really, aside from trying to stick one of his feet onto the section with studs, is to make him hold it, which I'm not really sure. His face is hitting the top of the gun. So that's a little awkward. It's a little awkward, not gonna lie. How do the instructions do it? Oh, they have him like leaning back more. Okay, that works. That doesn't look too bad. So he's in the position. When he's on there, it's really hard to get to the trigger to shoot the missile off. And honestly, this whole assembly does not feel sturdy enough for me to be pushing down on it to try and fire. I like the blue in there because it does look like energy, but the firing mechanism is kind of pointless here. We have a bunch of printed pieces on this front section. Tons of scratches and stuff that kind of show it's banished. Interestingly enough, these gray pieces were attached to the red ones, pointed upward, when they came out of the package. I guess they would assemble them and then paint them that way. Kind of cool. Along the side, there's more. There's a printed console up there. And then inside, we have some really interesting, like, chocolate bar looking pieces. And that's supposed to be, I guess, leather. So that when the Brute sits, which this vehicle is not a giant vehicle. It is kind of looks like a small, fast attack sort of thing. Come on, buddy. Just, his hand didn't want to turn. Again, I'm not familiar with this vehicle in-game. Dude, what is going on? Why doesn't he want to go in? Okay, there we go. There we go. Then we can hinge this theoretically back over top. Kind of hits his wrist blades a bit. And then hinge those over his shoulders. And he is in. Interesting. Yeah, it's like kind of a fast attack looking speeder kind of thing. I could imagine a couple of these escorting one of the banished skiffs, maybe? Yeah. Pretty cool build. Very interesting. Stands out a lot from the other vehicles we've gotten from Mega. And it looks very banished. Very, very banished. For those of you wondering how this matches the newer Halo Infinite banished vehicles, I'd say it fits in pretty well. There's more print and scratches and stuff, so it makes the Marauder stand out. But the chopper has a lot of scratches and whatnot, which I just don't have that built right now for comparison. But yeah, it's the same shade of red. And I think it fits in pretty well. So if you want to get this to add to your arsenal of Banished vehicles and you have primarily Halo Infinite sets, you're going to be perfectly fine. I think that's pretty good. Obviously, I did pick the 2 roundest Banished Infinite vehicles for comparison, and this is very angular, but you get the idea. Well, there you have it. That is the Banished Marauder. What did they call it again? Banished Marauder Strike. I really thought this was the Green Machine versus Banished Marauder. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. Maybe that's what Mega has on their website? I'm going to have to go look now once I'm done recording. Anyway, though, really cool set. I gotta say, I'm a lot more impressed with this than I was expecting. Again, like I said before, I kind of ignored this set because the Marauder looked a little weird to me. I was like, I don't even know what I'm really looking at there. And then Johnson looked kind of cool in his big mech, but then it was like he's got a face and not a helmet, and Mega was not really doing real great with the faces at that time. So I was like, no, I'll pass. But now that I have it, I'm really happy with it. What I'm not entirely happy with is the retail price. This thing has got a $60 retail price tag. Obviously, that varies across the internet, but when you go and buy it in stores, this thing is $60. I don't feel like there's $60 worth of stuff in here. There's 3 figures and 2 builds. Sure, the mech has a lot of specialized parts, but this does not have that many pieces. Like I said, it's a fairly bare bones thing, and I just don't feel like 60 is worth it. This feels like a $40 set at best. So, I don't know. I want to recommend it, but at the same time, it's still so hard to get and so expensive that it doesn't feel super worth it to me. So, I don't know. I'm on the fence. It's a great set, but it's just, it needed more. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like it would have needed some structure build or something. Like maybe a couple more of these with some rocks or foliage or something to make the price point worth it. But that price to part ratio feels like something from Lego. I don't know. It's not great. So that's kind of my bottom line here is it's a really cool set. That Johnson is epic. I'm really happy with that. Like, what's cooler than Johnson? Johnson in a giant freaking mech suit with a Gatling gun. But $60 is a lot to fork over, even for Johnson in a mech suit. So, if you can find it, I don't know. If you can find it for its retail price and you really want Johnson in a mech suit, or if you just want some, like a Marauder and some Banished figures, sure, go ahead and get it. But I would not recommend it at that price. It's pricey. And I don't think you're going to have much luck finding it for less than that, since this set had such a weird and limited release. Yeah, I don't know. If you really just want this set, you like it that much, go ahead and get it. But if you're just kind of on the fence about it, I'd say you can probably get more for your money elsewhere. You know, save that $60. Heck, get another $60 and you've almost got enough for Infinite Pelican. And that's a lot better deal than this is right here. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.